Hey there, welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our pals at PrizePicks, where you can use code Eurostep to get $50 when you play your first $5 lineup, win or lose. I am Ty Windisch, one of your hosts. I am here with the esteemed Rohan Katti for, as we determined before the episode, our fourth time recording since Monday evening. This will be the third episode. Hopefully this will just go out on its own as an episode, and it won't need an addendum or anything like that added. We'll see, though, given the way the Bucks have moved lately. But Rohan, we're spending a lot of time together to start this week. How's it going? Are you sick of me yet?
No, I was about to say it's a pleasure, Ty, to be able to spend this much time with you.
That's nice. Good.
I get to talk to a good friend about basketball.
There is nothing better than that. And cap hits and all the other stuff that comes with it. So we've got, some news to discuss that we haven't talked about yet. Gary Harris signing for Vet Min. Actually, I missed one on the crown. Jericho Sims. I don't know if we had Sims news or maybe we didn't talk about it.
We did not.
There was a lot going on last time we recorded. So Sims back. Pat Connaughton trade for Vasile Micic, which we'll talk about why that is what it is. But I wanted to open, Rohan, with more discussion of the Turner signing / Dame wave because, we did a whole pod about this yesterday. Extreme time crunch with how big the news was and how jam-packed.
We had like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think our call, our actual recorded pod was like 18 or something like that. And obviously we have more thoughts on it. So I think let's do Turner first, just as almost an isolated thing, and then we can do the Dame waiver and the update on Dame, which was, I think we had just kind of started to get the reports on Dame and he's actually not betrayed or mad. He's thrilled about this. And Dame literally, I saw it today, reposted someone's Instagram reel that was here's why Dame is so excited and all this money. Just no comment. Just yep, I am. This is great. But I want to start with Turner. It's so funny because we got comments on it in the Discord, but we opened our first pod on Tuesday, which was supposed to be the big Trent pod, with oh, haha, Myles Turner still available. Not a lot of buzz there. Too bad that's totally impossible. Turns out it wasn't. But we joked about it in that sense because this is I think we said this on the pod, but I want to go deeper into why. The best fit next to Giannis. And I would argue for the way basketball is going, this may be a better fit next to Giannis than Lopez was in 2018-19.
I think so. I don't think it's out of left field to say that. It's really funny to me, Ty, because you and I have spent this entire offseason talking about, the Bucks need to move on from Brook Lopez. Yep. They need to change up the way they play, their identity, things like that. And a lot of that was, one, because of the way Brook Lopez was playing, but two, I want to get this out of the way first. It's because of the type of player Brook Lopez is. Let's say was. He still is. It's just not as good at it as he used to be. A floor spacing, rim protecting big, right? And on its face, that's what Myles Turner is. And we were saying all offseason, they need to get away from that. They need to switch it up. They need to get an identity change. However, I will say, one of the big reasons we were saying that is because we did not think it was possible to get another type of player like that was not Brook Lopez. Because there's four of them. There's Brook Lopez. There's I actually, it feels wrong with the next names I'm about to say Brook Lopez. There's Kristaps Porzingis. Yep. There's Myles Turner. Yep. And there's Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, those are the guys.
And then there's guys who dabble, but they're just not good enough at either, right? I mean, we talked about Thomas Bryant was there's a world where he was your starting center. There may be a world where he's Indiana's starting center. They haven't signed him yet, but Valanciunas will shoot some threes, but real stretch fives, it's a very rare thing. And the differentiator with Turner, and the reason I say he could be a better fit, now with Giannis than Lopez was back when they first signed him, I'll say prime Lopez. I think those were his best years as a player, even though he did the All-Star game as a net. In terms of the two-way impact, is because Turner is not the 2018-19 Brook Lopez, as a player right now. I don't think he's as stout in the paint. I don't think he's as good of a rim protector. The shooting was going to be interesting to monitor. Turner had a couple bad years, and then the last two, the Halliburton era, if you will, his effectiveness from three has gone up significantly. it helps playing with a transcendent playmaker, but it also typically helps guys playing next to Giannis. We'll see how that evens out. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is on the defensive end. This is just a far more versatile player than Lopez as a Buck or ever, was. And I'm not saying this to denigrate Brook Lopez. It's just true. Like, they dropped for a reason. It worked. It was what the personnel fit. It won them a whole lot of basketball games, and they can still drop. I would bet.
Including a championship.
Including a championship. And I would bet their bases still drop, but they also there wasn't a lot of flexibility to do other things if you're playing Brook Lopez a lot of minutes, as Adrian Griffin found out the hard way. I think there is with Turner. I like. There's a clip I shared today on Twitter from the finals where he's hedging. He's basically dropping or hedging into the paint, cuts off a drive, closes out to Chet Holmgren, doesn't jump too early, jumps after Chet, blocks the shot. Chet gets it back, tries to drive. Turner shuffles the feet, sticks with him all the way to the rim, blocks him again there. The Lopez part of that play would have ended after help at the rim. He wouldn't have gotten out to block the shot. And again, I'm not. The last thing I want to do is throw dirt on Brook Lopez's name, Bucks legend, 11 in the rafters, all that stuff. That's just not, and Rohan's got the autograph card there, but that wasn't his game. That wasn't his game really ever, and certainly, not the version we've most recently seen, just with him continuing to age as one does, as we all do. I'm very excited to see what this coaching staff can cook up defensively. I think the drop will be their base, but I think just having a true rim protector at the 5 who can also shoot, who can also switch, is really valuable. In some ways, it's kind of like if Bobby Portis and Jericho Sims did the fusion dance. Right? Does Turner not bring all of that stuff to some degree?
I do see that. And I think one of the biggest things about Myles Turner is, one, he's big. That's a big part of it. And two is that when he's playing next to Giannis, we know that Giannis likes to hang out near the paint.
Yeah. You're
okay with that because you're okay with Myles Turner kind of roaming other places. You're not like in those last 2 years, I'll say, where Brook Lopez has really taken a turn for the worse. It's you see Brook Lopez kind of have to shuffle his feet and go, a little bit roam outside the restricted area, and you're like, oh no, something bad's gonna go on here. Something's gonna go wrong. With Myles Turner, you're like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's okay. He'll contain the drive. He'll stay on the perimeter. It's okay. He's not going to be a lockdown guy from the perimeter. Some guys are going to get past him. But here's the thing. That's where Giannis is going to be.
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think that's one of the really big things. Previously with Giannis and Brook, it was two guys just in the paint at all times. And your perimeter defense kind of leaks because of that. Now, it's really going to be one guy in the paint most of the time, and that's actually probably going to be Giannis.
Well, I think the beauty of this is they're going to have just options. I think there's going to be a lot of times both of them are partially in the paint because they can close out. They can be more places on the floor without having to worry about if we keep Brook too far from his man, someone has to help immediately. Or no, Turner can close out. He's a good closeout big, so he can kind of give you both. And obviously Giannis can do the same. I just think they're going to be, able to be on different sides of the floor, helping out, securing the rebounding. They're just going to have a mobile shot blocking big in two places, which outside of the, scant Giannis Sims minutes, which were really fun defensively and a journey offensively, we'll say, the Bucks haven't had that ever. All right. I mean, what do we keep saying about Sims? They've never had another one of these guys with Giannis, and I'm glad they brought him back. We'll talk about him. It's probably not going to be many more thoughts besides we're glad they brought him back. I don't think he's going to have a huge role to play post this huge signing. But to find a player who can give you that defensively, who's also just bigger, and I know rebounding has been the knock on Turner. I think playing with Giannis should help mitigate that to a large degree, right? We know how Giannis plays. He's one of the league's best rebounders by volume. I think they'll be okay rebounding the basketball. And just gives you more. Also, I think has really gotten good at that mid-range too, Turner has, which opens up some things offensively for the Bucks. It feels like is a little more dynamic with the ball. Probably that's maybe the understatement of the year than Brook was, but I think just gives you some more options. I would expect the shot diet for Turner especially because the whole floor is going to be so different post Dame, right? Like it's not going to be as many touches to the top two. It's really going to be Giannis and friends going forward. I think the shot diet's going to be a lot more diverse than the bombs, which kind of became all Brook was doing to a large extent. Like they kind of gave up on the post ups. It was just the bombs. From three, I think we'll see a lot more from Turner in terms of just what he's doing offensively.
Yeah, I think so. Turner is just he's a very well-rounded player, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for a guy who's 10 years in the league, I mean,
But only 29?
30.
No, he doesn't turn 30 until
30.
March. I was looking at it, kind of blew my mind. I was like, wow, he's been around for so long, but should still have.
He was part of the Pacers Paul George era.
Yeah. I mean, I think still has a lot of good basketball left, though. This is a big contract, 1 year or 4 years, but I mean, there'll be
with a player option at the end.
The fourth is a player option.
Oh, sorry, you said 3 year, my bad.
Oh, I meant to. I thought I said 4. Right, it's 4 years, 3 years guaranteed, one player option.
3 years
right?
guaranteed player option. Yeah.
So I would assume he picks it up. We'll see. Ranging like 26, 27 million AAV, something like that for the whole deal. But he's going to be 33, turning 34. Like that's not the end of the world. And frankly, I think we all know the next 2 to 3 years are really kind of the goal here with prime Giannis. Do you have any other Turner thoughts? I mean, I'm really excited to see this front court. I just think it's not going to be like anything we've seen in the Giannis era on both ends. Offensively, too. I mean, we got into this a little bit, but obviously having another legit center shooter is a positive next to Giannis. I mean, it always helps, right?
Yeah, and I think thinking about it from this upcoming season's perspective, let's say the Bucks, just let Brook Lopez walk, or even let's say they kept Brook Lopez, right, and just ran.
Yeah.
Who was their second best player going to be? Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis,
Kuzma or Bob, yeah.
Now all of those guys are moved down a peg, right? Because Myles Turner is your second best player. I think that's a better spot to be.
Yeah. I still think
I wouldn't say it's an ideal spot.
No, I think they need to do a little more work. Which first let's do Dame, and then we can kind of get to is anything else coming substantial. I mean, there could be more free agents. There's a couple that are interesting still, but none that I think are none that are changing that calculus. There's no one they would sign for vet man, or if they have a little bit of the room. That's what I'm saying. No free agents that like Chris Paul would be the dream at this point, but he's not your second best player at age 40.
No.
He's probably frightfully close given how he played last year, but he's not number 2. The Dame piece. I think, one, happy that Dame's happy. He just launched an affordable shoe, which tough timing right after getting waived, but hopefully I think people will still buy it. He did an under $100 shoe.
Of the game.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean that he wouldn't be popular. It's just the news is overshadowed, is what I meant. A few thoughts on the cap hits. $22.5 million for the next 5 years. They, instead of trading picks, because there was, it was a free agency thing, not a trade situation, of course, to bring in Turner. Although I did see, if the teams don't hate each other too much, Milwaukee could pick up like a future second by making this a sign and trade with Turner. And then Indiana gets a trade exception. And something on the board. None of this is official yet. They traded the cap hits to make this happen. They traded the dead cap for Myles Turner. So the take I've seen is, now you're paying Myles Turner $50 million a year for 4 years. That's stupid. And I don't think that's the entirely accurate way to look at this. I think they just wouldn't have been able to have Myles Turner if they didn't do this. So if you want to say it, Myles Turner cost that much, but I just think the flexibility of just getting a guy in the door costs that much, and it's really hard to do in an environment when there is no cap space. No one signs like new deals. Was the biggest one last year KCP?
Yeah, look at the restricted free agents. There's just no.
They're just floating there. Yeah, it's got to be a sign and trade. So there's some asset anyway. They gave up no draft asset or whatever, no players. They had to remove Dame, who unfortunately probably wasn't going to be a factor for them this year as a player, and then take the dead cap. Are they not kind of used to dealing with some significant unusable cap on the books, unfortunately, for the last 2-3 years? Is this not a challenge the Bucks are uniquely equipped for, maybe, unfortunately, again?
I mean, this is the largest wave and stretch in NBA history.
Yeah.
It is the largest, not even just the largest monetarily, it is the largest percentage of the cap at 14%.
It gets closer to the Josh Smith one than you would think, though, because of how smaller the cap
Josh
was.
Smith's a legend, man.
Yeah.
Talk about Pistons and money problems, am I right?
Let's move on.
Hey, there was some Milwaukee barbers in there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, dude, a Minneapolis dentist, Milwaukee barber. I mean,
Minneapolis dentist
that's
garnishing
insane.
your wages as a
That's
Piston
insane.
is incredible.
Also, they put like Detroit Pistons Basketball LLC as the thing. Is that the payout company the Pistons have? That's a hilarious name.
So.
That's a hilarious name. That's an LLC. If you're unaware, Malik Beasley is a lot of dirt's coming out about former Buck Malik Beasley, who, by the way,
Beasley's in trouble.
He's in trouble. That's I'm trying to make sure we don't say anything litigious. That is fair to say. Also, the accusation or the allegation from the district attorney's office is regarding him placing bets the year he was on the Bucks. So may become public enemy number one, depending on what, if that happened, one, and two, what kind of wagers were they? There was also a story, like, have you seen the Boo-Ray thing?
No.
I saw it. This is a rumor, I'll say for now, but like, was like legitimately hemorrhaging funds on playing Boo-Ray games in his time with the. It's like if you don't know, Boo-Ray is like a popular NBA card game.
Yeah, you just play on the plane.
Yeah, but guys bet. I think generally it's like not much for them because all millionaires, some billionaires, very few. But apparently it was like the term I saw was like going broke on that, which is like that's actually insane. And also, you're not very good at Boo-Ray.
Yeah, also maybe try something else.
Apparently, he tried a lot of things, Rohan. I don't think that was the solution here. Try just maybe reading a book would have been, new hobbies would have been the goal, I think. But
reading is fun.
Let's put that aside for now, or we're going to be here riffing all day.
Wave and stretch.
Yeah.
Largest cap hit, largest percentage of the cap.
It's a huge risk, but also I just think this all comes back to me of forget the gap year idea, which clearly they've rejected wholly, summarily. And the read on that is, Giannis won't let them. I don't know. I don't know if the Bucks were ever really interested in it either, to tell the truth. The thing about the whole concept of it that never got recognized, Giannis is 30. Why are we building for Giannis's age 33 season? Or 31 or 32 most generously, right? But, if we're doing it, we're resetting, we're gap yearing, we're like, yeah, that's fine, but this might be the best.
About how Cam Boozer can develop next to Giannis.
I mean, they were never getting Cam Boozer. That would have been more interesting. But I just like this next season could be the best Giannis one of all the ones going forward. I don't know. I think I trust him to age well, like given how psychotically committed he is to being the greatest possible player he can be. But that's just nature. I mean, even LeBron, who's still going, like there's obviously been a decline, and 30s is when that starts to happen, sometime in the 30s. So I think Team and Giannis probably somewhat aligned here on, if Dame is going to be a dead cap of $54 million this year, we can instead have Myles Turner, a true impact player, the biggest possible position of need for fitting with Giannis in the front court, or the best possible fit. And there's going to be some really hard times later in the deal, but age 34, age 35 Giannis just simply isn't as important to us as age 30, 31 Giannis. I think that's totally fair. And that's in line with how they operate.
Plus, the cap's going to just keep going up. And it's not like this is a percentage of the cap. This dead cap. It's just a static number.
Yeah. And it could decrease a little bit if depending on Dame's next deal, but it probably won't be a big deal. It depends how much he signs for. And it would only be in the extreme short term, I think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be anything more than like a couple mil.
I mean, if Brooklyn wants to give him like $60 million, that'd be nice, but I don't think that's happening.
That'd be awesome.
They should do that.
Brooklyn.
He was on their list, but I think it was because Mikal Bridges was there.
We'll see.
How much does it piss you off if he signs with the Boston Celtics?
Yes. I mean, it's just fate at this point, right?
I would be very mad.
The pipeline is it's you can go to three teams. You can go to the Blazers, you can go to the Celtics, and you can go to the Bucks.
Blazers.
That's the pipeline.
Blazers are in play for him too. I don't know. I'm not reporting that.
He said he's wanted to end his career there.
Yeah, I don't think
that'd be fitting.
Yeah, I don't think he's to that point yet. I don't know why he would sign a vet minimum with the Celtics. I mean, the report from Chris Haynes was he wanted to go home and rehab. I kind of think he's just going to do that. And if you're Dame,
I don't think he's doing anything this season.
Yeah, it's just been out there. Like, does he sign? I only think he signs somewhere if it's real money. Like, there's no reason for him to do, even if it was a player option, but especially not like a 2-year or a team option, like 1-1 something with a team for vet min. Like, why does he care?
It doesn't make sense for him. It gives him no purpose, or it gives him no advantage to actually sign with a team now.
No, I mean it would be the rehab facilities, but he's already said he wants to go home and do it there. So unless it was does Portland want to give him a vet min to just hang out? I mean, they literally might do that, but they also might get that for free. So
yeah, I think it was Mark Spears who was saying that Dame wanted to. It was either him or Chris Haynes.
I think Haynes said he wanted to go home, and the Bucks were like kind of split on it. Was Haynes' report?
Yeah, that was Haynes. Okay,
which I kind of get. Like, if he meant all year, probably like him around a little bit for the mentorship and stuff, but. Whatever, it doesn't, obviously it's over with now, over and done with. It also gives more credence to the athletic report from earlier in the offseason that pre the Achilles, they were going to explore a trade with Dame if things didn't, go well in the playoffs yet again, which I think, it kind of feels like they gave it a good run for the 2 years, but the partnership had started to run its course to a certain extent.
Yeah, maybe the Zodiac GM is right.
He loves the Turner fit with Giannis. I think it was like A+.
I think this is what's going to get me to start believing, man.
The Zodiac GM thing is, you just look at the results. Like, it's telling. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you would like to not have $22 million dead cap in 29 or whatever the last year of that is. They're also.
I think here's the question.
Yeah.
Do you want 50 mil to do nothing this year?
That's exactly it. That's exactly. And I'm not seeing enough people say it that way.
Like, I don't want 50 mil to just sit on the Bucks books and do nothing. Like, that'd be great if it was like a player we know is going to do really, really good things with Giannis. And like, it's kind of unfair for me to say that, and I kind of feel bad saying that.
It hurts, but it's not unfair.
It hurts, especially because Dame did everything right.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything you could possibly ask for, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want anyone to think of these comments as me saying anything bad about Dame. You will never hear me say anything bad about Dame. He came to Milwaukee, did everything he possibly could, fought back blood clots in record fashion to come play for a team in the playoffs, hobbled only to give his Achilles.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But it's like the Lopez. It's
two-time
factual.
All-Star with the Milwaukee Bucks. 3-point champ with the Milwaukee Bucks. NBA Cup champion.
Yeah.
He hung a banner in Milwaukee tie.
He did. That's the legacy, unfortunately. And then 75 total playoff minutes with Giannis is the true story of their. I see. Why didn't the partnership work? That's why. Giannis missed the whole first playoffs.
We didn't get a chance to see the partnership.
Yeah, Dame missed pretty much the whole second playoff. So that's why it didn't work. In case
and Giannis missed the whole first.
Yeah, exactly. I optimistically, I was like, I think Dame could come back, and maybe not this year still, but next year could be more akin to the first Bucks year Dame. That was kind of the upside.
It takes like 2 years.
Right. So that's why my upside was like, because he was limited athletically that year one. Like, maybe he can come back and be that. And I don't know if that really moves the needle. The other thing the one thing I'm not seeing enough of is like Giannis age 30, 31 is just not being factored enough. These are prime years. You don't know how long that will last. So I think I only see it framed by others as, oh, they're so desperate to keep him because otherwise he'll leave. I think they're just really desperate to try and win as much as possible with him generally. And obviously that's baked into trying to keep him, but also like they want to win. They want to win as many games as possible. And, you have the best chance to do it with the best Giannis. So making it's easy just asset-wise, Sam Presti-wise to be like, oh, well, we'll take the hits for 2 years and then go from there. All right, now Giannis is 33. He probably didn't do much in those 2 years. If he is still around, you have a very limited timetable now to do anything. And there's no guarantee you could. The other piece was they didn't waive him and then figure out, oh, what could we do with this? I don't think they plan to do this until they realize, oh, Myles Turner's just sitting there. Probably had some intel that the Pacers were lowballing him, which they were. And Horst reached out and was like, hey, like, we could do something insane here. Do you want to be a Buck if we can get you the money that you're not getting? And then they did it. Like, it was, I get why people are doing the Myles Turner $50 million things. He's obviously inextricably tied up in this, but it's almost like they'd rather, it was that instead of trading for a guy. And they could also trade for a guy, which I think we'll get to. But I just think the gamble makes sense to me. It is still a gamble, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I also think it is kind of doing right by Dame.
Yeah, like he's happy. He's sharing it. Like, he's like, oh, I'm ecstatic. This is great. His agent on the record is like, Dame is thrilled. Dame could not be happier to get handed $111 million to go home. You can't beat that deal.
To go, not only go home and rehab, and then also choose your next team.
Yeah.
He has never been able to choose his team.
Yeah. I don't think he will sign for Vetman.
I don't think he'll sign with Miami, and I think that's the funniest part of it.
Yeah, I've seen Lakers, Golden State, and Boston are the teams who reached out now, but like Boston for the big bad Boston, they can only give him vet min right now. Why would he take that?
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. He's going to be in Portland anyway.
And I also saw conflicting things about like, oh, I think Haynes was like, oh, he didn't know this was coming. I think Spears was like, oh, they'd kind of talked about it with him of like, this is an option. He maybe didn't know they were going to do it until the whole Turner thing. But also, did you see how Spears broke down the Bucks figuring this out?
Oh, it's the super nerds?
Yeah, he's like the super nerds in the computer room. It's like they just took his contract, divided it by 5. That's pretty much it. Like, it wasn't some insane calculation.
Also, computer room is crazy.
Yeah, just like a bunch of quants. That's the word, right? Like Wall Street, wall to wall. They got the big, like, what is the ENIAC computer in there? They're all working on that.
These are terms I've never heard before.
That was like the first. It's like a big, like, it's like a 10-foot by 6-foot computer or something. It's crazy.
Oh, that's what it was called. Okay,
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I know the concept.
Yeah.
It's like you would need a room to have your computer.
Yeah, that's where they were. Yeah, Mark Spears.
Mark, you can do these calculations on your phone.
It reminds me of, is it Lil Yachty and Drake where he's like showing him something on the computer? He's like, oh, that's the Bucks super nerd showing John Horst. Oh, okay.
Oh, you can just take it divided by 5.
Divided by 5. Okay. But yeah, it's insanely
save
creative.
Money next year, by the way.
Yeah, so I did the numbers. So just with all, if everyone just opts into their player options, which I don't think they will, you would assume Gary gets a raise at some point. And this does not no AJ Green deal yet, right? So it doesn't factor that either. But with just everyone opting in to what they're guaranteed right now on the books, the Bucks would have $166.8 million in total salaries. The cap is going up less than expected. A little piece of news that
7% rather than a 10% increase.
Yeah. So they would be slightly under the cap. Instead, they're slightly over. But they are, I have them as $33 million below the luxury tax next year. And that's factoring Dame with a lot of their players under contract. Again, they probably re-signing Gary and signing AJ, that eats up a lot of that space, but they could also, is Harris still here? Is Prince still here? You could get rid of those guys on minimums if you had to. You could end up with like you'd probably be in the MLE situation again. So there's going to be more flexibility going forward, even though like the dead money, it feels like they would have almost no money. They're not going to, I shouldn't say for sure. I don't think they're going to be a cap space team. You never know with the Milwaukee Bucks.
You never know.
And then also Kuzma's expiring next year, so that he is on for $20 million. Could you flip him at that point?
If he's on the team.
If he's on the team by then, which we will discuss. But yeah, they're not like jammed up financially. It makes them harder for them to spend and do things, but assuming almost every team is going to be an over the cap team, not a cap space team, the Bucks are just in there now. It's not like they have no breathing room or flexibility.
Still well positioned for 27 when they're going to get Luka.
Sure. Yeah, Kuzma off the books, Portis expiring.
Or not Luka, is it Jokic that year?
I think Luka's next year.
Yeah, Luka's next year, Jokic is the next year.
By the way, really nice low-key summer for Denver, and
it's really annoying.
And they keep hiring people who worked for the Mavs when Luka played there. Something I'd keep an eye on, personally.
That's really annoying, by the way.
No Lakers extension with Luka in the talks right now. Lakers big
no
summer.
Lakers anything.
Hey, Jake LaRavia, they got that business done.
Oh, that's fair. That's true.
Can we talk about, real quick, how have they still not gotten Ayton done? Is anyone else in the mix?
Yeah, no one. It was
what's going on here?
The biggest contender to sign Ayton aside from the Lakers for that couple 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then, I don't think they need Ayton anymore.
I love the idea that John Horst read the Jason Quick athletic hit piece on Ayton, and he was like, the 22 mil dead cap hits that the super nerds told me about don't sound so bad. We can work with that. I'm kind of worried this guy's going to make Giannis fall out of love with basketball, so let's take the cap hits.
Super nerds in the computer room is incredible.
I'd sweet. How do I apply? I feel pretty uniquely positioned for that role. If there's any openings, get in there. I'd like to be a super nerd.
But the Lakers, I don't know how Ayton. Is it just because they don't want to give him the full MLE? They're
probably haggling.
Because maybe they saw that athletic hit.
Yeah. They're like, God, do we just...
Rob Pelinka's reading that, and he's like, oh, no.
Right, he's got Marvin's room on, thinking about Jackson Hayes.
Not Jackson Hayes.
Thomas Bryant, Laker legend?
Yeah. Forever immortalized in NBA
Forever
history.
Immortalized in NBA history. I hope Dame doesn't go to Boston. I feel like he won't. There is a friendship thing with Tatum. I think that's part of the reason. But I feel like they kind of fake went for him when the Bucks traded for him, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were kind of being polite. Put our name out there.
Yeah.
What's time?
They do need a point guard.
Well, they have Anthony Simons.
Apparently, they're looking to move him.
Makes more sense for the Bucks now, I will say.
Yeah, it definitely does.
But
wouldn't be the first time a team has replaced Dame with Anthony Simons.
It wouldn't. Here's the thing, though. I mentioned the one thing people aren't factoring when they talk about this pair of transactions is, and it's really, there's 3 more we can discuss a little bit to make the cap space happen. The other thing outside of Giannis's age and why it's important to maximize now versus 2 years from now is the Bucks were kind of forced out of their defensive identity as a Dame team. And, I mean, he wasn't going to play much anyway, whatever. They could have traded him as an expiring, yada, yada. But by just cutting it now, they have the option to just say, we're actually going to be a defensive team again. And they don't have great defensive personnel right now, but they do skew bigger than they did before. If they sign Rollins, he's 6'2", but he has a 6'9" wingspan. KPJ is, I'd say, an okay defender, kind of up and down, kind of splash plays, which is also how I describe Trent. But they're both 6'5", so you're starting out bigger than you were, and there's not that, and again, don't mean to besmirch him on the way out, but let's be realistic, that one guy that teams are just going to target relentlessly. The Bucks kind of go away from having that now, and suddenly, even let's say Kuzma's the 3 for now, you have a more athletic version of your bigger lineups. I think you're a lot stouter defensively, and are they buying into the weak link principle of if our weakest link is Trent or Porter Jr., that's just a different conversation than Dame, and we can play differently now. Maybe we don't need to score as much. Maybe we can be a great defensive team again. The way Giannis clearly wants to play, by the way, because he could not have been more frustrated when they would win games 130 to 125. He clearly didn't enjoy it very much.
No, I think that's a really good point to bring up. The Bucks can now go back to, just being a big defensive-minded team. Turner really helps with that. Giannis loves it. Clearly, that's going to be his default always. And you can just get some big guards, big wings to really pair with him, especially if this is just going to be the Giannis and friends year. I mean, Kevin Porter Jr., a big guard who's going to lock in on defense, 70% of the possessions.
Yeah.
Gary Harris, Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr. really, even though he doesn't have to be the lead defensive guard anymore, which is awesome. Just kind of, maybe keep that mentality. Don't take your foot off the gas completely, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, Trent.
Yeah, we can't just say Gary anymore. Will the Bucks sign the third Gary? Gary Payton on the market. Something to think about.
I mean, the Warriors are currently doing nothing, and according to Sam Spendiara, just sitting in the chair.
Well, they are. The Kuminga thing. They're sitting in the chair watching Kuminga, but no one showed up. It's just Kuminga. Wait, is anyone going to pay me? The Pelicans are we would love to because we're stupid, but we don't know how. We can't figure it out. We don't have any super nerds.
We don't have a computer room.
We couldn't find any super nerds from Baltimore, so we didn't hire any. And now we don't know what to do. I think we'll talk more about the Pels this episode too. But first, we'll talk about our friends at Prize Picks, where it's a great day, Rohan, because we're potting. Because Prize Picks is available for everyone to sign up today. Download the app from whatever app store. It's on all of the great ones. You use code Eurostep, put in $5, play your first lineup, get $50 when you win or lose that first lineup. But it's also a great day because, my goodness, Brewers baseball. I mean, we're looking at Freddie Peralta at noon, and we're looking at Jacob Mizorowski at 6 p.m. in the Big Apple. And you can load up your Prize Picks today. Let's double up. Why don't we? Well, how about we go more than Freddie Peralta, 5.5 strikeouts? How about we go more than the Miz, Demon Time, 5.5 strikeouts? Build your lineup out from there. You got to include a Met or someone from a different team or sport. You have to have more than one team represented, but other than that, the freedom of Prize Picks is invigorating to go basketball, soccer, golf, tennis, baseball. Again, the hot dog eating contest, boxing, it's all on Prize Picks. It's all good fun. You could also throw in maybe Pete Alonso gets one total base on the Goblin Time. Throw in a Goblin Time from the other team and focusing on the team you know more about with your Demon and Standard Times. Like, that's options as well. Prize Picks is quick, safe, easy to use, and just makes sports fun. And you can back up your hot takes and win cold, hard cash. So download the app today using the link in our descriptions or by just going and typing in Prize Picks on your app store of choice, but use code Eurostep, all one word, and get $50 when you play $5, win or lose, the best deal anywhere in the galaxy, I've been saying. It's code Eurostep on the Prize Picks app to get $50 when you play $5 for the first time, win or lose. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's talk about the newest Buck. Well, Jericho Sims is back. I think I'm worried I'll forget.
Vetmin.
Yeah, another player option. This one there is no early bird implication. John Horst just does love player options. I've had to concede.
Yeah.
Some of the others made sense. This one is just like, you know what? Jericho Sims, sure. I don't know why they had to give him that, but they did. It's fine.
It's fine. They'll still have his bird rates.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to up his value very much. Like, I think this is probably the right spot for him. As much fun as I had watching him, I don't envision him being a big part of the rotation.
The front I could see him like pre Myles Turner. I was like, oh, he could be a good backup big.
Yeah, I think he's a very qualified fourth big, and a well qualified third big. When it was like, oh,
I think he's overqualified as a third big, which is where you want people to be.
Yeah,
overqualified.
And to be clear, it's Turner, Giannis, Portis, and then Sims. So if any of them misses time, which they will throughout the year, Sims will be able to step in, and maybe he plays a little bit in every game. And if they want to play a lot of centers and don't go small as much, that's possible.
Or we get like the backup front court is Bobby at the 4.
That's which we wanted.
Which we saw in the postseason when those two finally were able to be on the team, able to play together.
That's a good point.
We did see that. This could still be a Jericho Sims is the backup 5 situation.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Like a Bobby Jericho front line makes sense for a bench unit.
I think, and we'll talk about the implications for Kuzma and what it pushes him to be. Their front court could not be any better, like realistically.
Best in the league?
Giannis, Myles Turner with Portis and Jericho Sims off the bench. I think starting front court, Denver's right up there. Aaron Gordon and Jokic is pretty damn good. I would think their bench probably isn't quite as good, so it's got to be up there for best in the league. When the Giannis piece of it obviously looms, but in terms of talent level and fit, I guess Minnesota as well, in terms of depth with Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle, but obviously none of those guys holding a candle to Giannis, and then I'd put Turner up there with the rest of them too, frankly.
Yeah.
For what he does on both ends. So I'm really, again, front court, great, no notes, perfect. Sims, good, really good addition to bring him back for at least one more year. He's not going to play much in hopefully in next season, but maybe a little bit here, maybe just the backup 5, the fourth big. That's very good.
Backup 5 in the regular season when Giannis doesn't have to, he's already going to be doing so much. You don't need him to play a lot of defense too much. I think it's a good spot.
It's a great spot. The other new guy, Gary Harris.
You could do so much worse.
Totally. You could totally do so much worse. They've gone into years without a backup five, and I'm glad they're not doing that.
Like last year.
Yes. And this is better than
like 4 years previous.
It was like either Robin Lopez or nothing for a few years there. And frankly, this is better than Robin Lopez. No disrespect to the low bros.
I can't believe they brought Robin Lopez back. That was crazy.
And then they salary dumped him, and then he was just like courtside reading a book. The Lopez brothers are one of one. Or I guess they're two of one.
I was going to say, there's literally two of them.
Well,
them as a set of brothers are one of them.
Yes, thank you. I saw this, I don't remember who said it now, but like Shea in one of his speeches was like, Jalen Williams is a one-of-a-kind player. And someone's like, there's two of them on your team. Very funny stuff. Gary Harris, my number one question here, is he cooked? Longtime listeners will know I've wanted Garris, as I call him, on the Bucks for years. He's just like a low-key two-way player. Shades of Wesley Matthews. He's struggled a bit with injuries, really his whole Magic tenure. He's still only 30 years old. Has not gotten to play much.
He'll be 31 when the season starts.
Oh, really? I thought he wasn't until mid-season. Okay.
September 14th.
September 4th. So he'll be 31. The pessimistic take is like, doesn't stay on the court, hasn't shot the ball well, probably just too injured now and too old. The optimistic take is Wes Matthews was post-Achilles in 33 when he joined the Bucks and gave them at least two, but he played three total. And really his whole tenure he was pretty dang productive for what they needed out of him. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Bucks Wes Matthews, but it's not every guard is just toast once they hit above 30. I'm interested in the flyer. It's vet min, it is what it is, but
take a shot.
Here's why it interests me. They got it done pretty early here, right? They've done a lot of things, but within it was day 2 of free agency. They got it done Tuesday. Where does he play? Like on the depth chart. Because Trent is back, Green is still here. You've got Prince you signed. And we just talked about all the 4s and 5s, so you'd probably move Kuzma up to the 3 again? So is this just depth, or is something else going to happen?
I hope it's just, no, I hope something else is going to happen. I hope there's a Kuzma trade coming. Because I'll save it for a little bit. But I do think it is an indicator that something else is coming. But I could also see him being could. Or he could just be the vet guard sitting on the bench in case of emergency Pat replacement.
Yeah, I've seen that comp. That's a good comp, I think. Just like this guy knows where to be on the floor. Like you can throw him out there and
this guy's not going to lose us games because he doesn't know what he's doing. Hopefully.
Correct.
Maybe.
Also, Andre Jackson Jr., I'm not seeing a lot of burn for you, my man, unfortunately.
No. As long as Kuzma's still on the team, Ajax is not getting burned.
Yeah. It's sad, but although it is a very stretchy roster all of a sudden.
It is.
A lot of Giannis and stretch bigs, but you still have Kuz. And I guess Sims, although again, I don't think he'll be a big factor. Something I'd watch. And I actually don't know the answer to this. Can you extend... I think if AJ Green got the extension everyone wants him to get, I'm not sure he would still be tradable. That's something I'm monitoring.
You're saying he's going to be included in the trade?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying I'm monitoring that.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure. I'm not totally sure on that, but I think if you extend for more than a certain percentage of your contract, it means you can't be traded for a while. And his extension would be way more because it's a minimum, but he could get up to the average annual salary or something like that. So I'm playing a little. I could be totally wrong here. I don't want people to take this too seriously, but they are being very aggressive with upgrading the roster. And I think you look at this roster and okay, Kuzma turn into a real 3 would be great. Maybe they just hope he can do that. They clearly need some more shot creation. Even if you're saying point Giannis is going to be a thing, it's him and KPJ and really nothing else. And I think AJ Green would have league-wide value. That's all. I'm observing.
That would be sad.
Of course it would be sad.
Yeah.
It depends on the player who comes in. If it happens, they could extend him right after we stop recording, and this looks stupid. This is not anything.
And that's par for the course for us recording over the past 2 days.
Something's going to happen at 11:30 for sure. This
makes me like not stop recording. We're just constantly live, just so we can never.
I think people would like
to add addendums.
Truman Show the podcast.
Yeah,
although we would know about it. I want to be clear. This is not anything I've heard any buzz or rumblings.
Start streaming me playing the show.
People would definitely like that. This is not a Rocco Zakarsky or DeAndre Ayton situation where like there was like some buzz, and people that I would talk to. This is nothing at all. Totally my speculation, to be clear. But I just where's the extension?
No, it makes sense.
Just wondering.
Or it could also be they're just waiting to see everything get taken care of.
Yeah,
then it's like okay, then we'll say.
There's no rush on it because you have until the end of the regular season. So. And again, Gary Harris is not like, oh, they need to move him now that they got Gary Harris. I'm by no means saying that.
And once again, they need Trent's contract. The ink needs to be dry, so he feels.
That's true. You're right. That's a more compelling case. But I just thought of it more because, like the Pacers picked up the options on Isaiah Jackson and Tony Bradley, which at the time I was like, it's kind of odd. They went and got 2 centers right away, and they're going to go get Myles Turner too. I think they probably knew, like, we might not actually bring him back. Like, we want to, but we're not going to do a high number. And I think that's why they took options on 2 centers, one of whom missed the whole last year, the other of whom is Tony Bradley. So, just something to watch. Sometimes these little moves can mean something. Oftentimes they don't.
I will say this is, like, I know we have other things to talk about. On Turner, I don't think the Pacers actually thought they were going to lose him.
No, I think we've talked about it, right? Like, no one has cap space. So they probably thought.
Like, we're not bidding against anyone. Let's just play some hardball.
Yeah, like the Nets have Nick Claxton, and they're just like taking in dead contracts. And Day'Ron Sharpe. They're not going to go sign.
2 years, $12 million for Day'Ron Sharpe. If the Bucks didn't get Turner, I was like, ooh, that's
not bad.
Team-friendly deal.
Yeah, but I think they had it locked in before anything started.
No, they did.
Yeah, because that was like they revoked the qualifying offer and then gave it. Same with Zaire Williams. Is that their wing?
Yeah.
They did basically the same deal with.
I would know. Like, I was also thinking, like, ooh, that might be a fun trade chip during the year. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'll take Myles Turner.
Yeah, I'll take Myles Turner too. I think you're right.
Myles Turner's a buck. Isn't that wild?
Did you see Windhorst reported the Pacers are pissed?
Good.
And their fans. I think that's great.
Good.
I think that's great.
He said if I was Tyrese Halliburton, I'd start throwing things.
I mean, yeah, it's like I see a lot of optimistic Pacers and pessimistic Bucks cases because I just think everyone wants the Bucks to lose. But like, oh yeah, Tyrese Halliburton as point guard can get value out of any big. It's like to an extent, yes, but also like their floor balancing was really dependent on Turner's pace.
Also, have you seen Giannis play?
Well, just from the Pacers side only, but also like Tyrese isn't playing next year. And the piece about Giannis's age that I think, again, I don't think that's being considered. I also think, I thought the Pacers could have had like a fun without, not fun, but they could have been competitive without Halliburton playing at all next year. Now they're just a huge downgrade at center. Even if they go get someone else, it's going to be a huge downgrade. Siakam's 31. How does Pascal Siakam feel about, we just went to the finals, we maybe win the finals if Tyrese doesn't get hurt. I'm a huge part of that. Like, I had a great playoff run. I was the go-to scorer for most of the playoffs. And now...
the Eastern Conference Finals MVP?
Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And at age 31 right now, for me, Siakam. If I was him, that'd be great for me. Not for him, if we swapped. Not bad, but not as good as being Pascal Siakam.
What are you talking about, Ty? You have a good life.
I know. I don't think he would feel the same way about it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of contracts, a lot of accolades that I have yet to hit. We'll see. I'm only 30. I have a year to catch up, but regardless. But now they're like, oh, yeah, actually, so you're the guy. You knew you were going to be the guy. Tyrese is out. And the second guy is Nembhard. And the third guy is Nesmith. And then you're starting with TJ McConnell and Tony Bradley. But we have our own pick back. Maybe Math. I guess they might start Nembhard at the 1. Whatever.
It's going to be tough.
We're going to goose Mathurin's value and then dump him at the deadline because we don't want to pay him in the summer because might get up to that tax again, and that's pretty scary.
Mm. The good thing about the Bucks is they will never cheap out.
I mean, they do duck the tax by doing this, but they pay a lot of money too. So
Yeah. Well, it was impossible for them to pay the tax and do this.
correct. Yeah. But, to be clear, so and this is good timing for this because we'll talk about the Pat C thing quick and the Rollins thing. So the function of doing this was they actually opened up cap space, which we did cover. So they stretched,
and which is the only way for them to sign an outside free agent.
Yes.
Aside from the mid level, like anything above the
or
mid-level,
a sign and trade, which I guess just wasn't going to work here.
You would need actual cap space, which the Bucks haven't had in at least a decade.
Yeah,
actually, a decade since they signed Greg Monroe.
That wasn't. God, was that 1 decade ago?
That was a decade ago today,
Jesus
I think.
Christ. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because they've had Chris and Giannis on pretty big contracts, and wow. Yeah, and every time you use like the mid-level, that means you didn't have cap space. If you use cap space, you don't get the mid-level. So we can clarify that on here too. I was right on the last show. They do have the room exception, which they used part of on the Kevin Porter Jr. trade.
Bobby Marks was right.
Bobby Marks was right. And it's like, if you knew something, you could have just reported it and been a hero, but whatever. So they waive and stretch Dame. They are trading Pat Connaughton and 2 second-round picks, which is a little rich, for Vasilij Micic, who is getting bought out to go back to Europe. I guess this is like an open secret in the league. So
he just does not want to be in the NBA.
He just wants to leave because he never plays.
Reportedly giving back most of his salary to go back to Europe.
So because he's doing that, the Bucks will only have the dead cap of whatever's left. So I think it's I can actually tell you it's $8.1 million. So if he gives back, I think I've seen the number 5. I don't know if that's true or not. Then it's like you basically turn Pat's 9 point something into a $3 million hit. So there's $6 million more, plus what you get from waiving and stretching Dame, where his hit goes from $54 million to $22 million. So that's getting there to the cap space. They also pulled the qualifying offer for Ryan Rollins. This may also be just getting a little bit more cap space because they need to get under it. Then they sign Turner to all the cap space they basically get to start that contract wherever it ends up starting exactly. And then they can do all the other stuff. So the non-bird rights on Trent and Prince and maybe Sims, the vet min on Gary Harris, the room exception on Kevin Porter Jr. Yes. So that's how they do all of that stuff now.
And then a vet min on Rollins, because you can sign as many vet mins as you want.
Right. So Rollins would be vet min. They might still. I don't know offhand.
I think if you pull an offer and you renounce any cap hold,
yeah, I think you lose the early bird. Yeah, but I think Vetman's probably his market anyway. So he could also leave. I mean, he's an unrestricted free agent now, but I wanted to note on that. We haven't gotten any report on this yet. Wouldn't be stunned even if they brought him back if Livingston was waived, because that's just another $2.2 million non-guaranteed until July 15th. So even if they like him, I wouldn't be shocked if they waived him and then brought him back, just because that's just a very easy way for them to get a little bit more cap space to get this Turner thing going and then do everything else. So as a quick reminder, all this stuff gets announced. It doesn't get executed until a little later in July, and then the order is very specific. So the Bucks order will be waive Dame, the Pat Connaughton for Micic trade, buy out Micic, sign Turner, then everything else.
Yes. They need to make the room for Turner, sign Turner, and then do everything else.
Correct. So they have everything lined up. We'll see if anything else gets added, but I think they're now just about there with the Pat C, the Rollins, and the Dame piece, of course.
Do you think there's a realistic world, and maybe I'm just way too optimistic, that this turns into a sign and trade with Kuzma?
No, because then why would you do the Dame thing?
You bring Dame back. You don't waive Dame.
I would imagine they looked into that. Of course.
And the Pacers probably said no.
Yeah, or I'm sure they called Brooklyn, the cap space team. What would it cost to send Kuzma there? And I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't feasible for them. Maybe Indiana.
Or maybe it was what does it cost to send Dame there? And they wanted to do right by Dame and just let him be a free agent.
Well, I mean, they didn't have enough cap to take Dame, so then money has to come back from Brooklyn. That gets really complicated. I also wonder if part of it is moving under cover of darkness, because Indiana wouldn't sign off on this.
Oh, true.
I mean, if you assign and trade, the other team needs to take part. Maybe they were like,
I'm saying now that
done.
it's agreed.
Yeah.
Can you turn it into a sign and trade? Probably not at this point because you've already made the whole thing about waiving teams.
But like I said before, they could, though, and just sign and trade him into cap space, and then Indiana gets a big trade exception. So that could come out of this. But I don't think it won't change the whole transaction. Dame's already chortled his way to the bank to not work anymore. I don't think you can go back from that. The real question is, do they trade
Bobby
Kuzma?
Vanilla Day?
Yeah, on Bobby Vanilla Day was a little on the nose. The real question is, do they trade Kuzma?
I hope so. This team does not make sense with Kyle Kuzma, just as it did not make sense with Kyle Kuzma last year.
Maybe it makes a little more sense.
Does it?
A little more.
Wow.
I mean, he was a big-time, high-usage offensive player for a lot of his career, and that usage is there now. I mean, I think everyone
is there, but
everyone would rather
with Giannis.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, there's more usage to go around now.
I'm saying the issue was not him getting touches; it's him playing with Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I to be clear, I'd rather they move him. I just think.
I don't know, Ty. It sounds like you love Kyle Kuzma and want him to be a Buck.
I did buy the stock. I did buy the stock.
You did buy the stock on the dip, and it might be dipping even more, man.
I think it's risen a little bit. I think he's trending in the right direction. He's probably the second banana now.
Oh no.
Where we stand right now, I think the fit is still not great.
You think he starts?
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh no. I don't want him to start, Ty.
I mean, I just think it's really hard to justify anyone else.
KPJ, Trent, Prince, Giannis, Turner.
Yeah, I just think
that's a good lineup.
I just think they're going to do the Kuzma. There's not a lot of shot creation. There's maybe enough. Does
Kuz give shot creation?
Yeah.
He just falls down whenever he tries to get to the rim.
Listen, I didn't say it was good, but he does create shots. So the shots go in, not enough of the time, which is why everyone wants him moved, including
Sometimes
me.
It doesn't even end in a shot opportunity. Sometimes he just falls out of bounds.
I'm well aware. I watched the game too.
It's not good.
I know.
I watched him play.
I'm not pitching it as a great idea, but I do think that's, unless they trade him, I think that's going to be the vision of like, oh, we'll give him the ball more, and maybe then he can get comfortable and be like a 15, 5 and 5, not 5 and 5, 15, 8 and 3 guy or something. Which may have been where he was as a Buck, actually. In the regular season. The playoffs were tough.
Yeah.
But then you stagger him with Giannis, right? So you play them, even if they start together, one of Kuz goes out first, then comes back in when Giannis goes out, and then they're both spaced. You have Portis and Turner playing pretty much all the minutes, so you have a stretch big out there to help those guys. It's not ideal. It would help if Kuzma didn't have his worst shooting year ever. He's never been a good three-point shooter, but kind of dipped, although his Milwaukee number wasn't as bad as his Washington number. I don't know. I think that'll be what they try, unless they find something else that makes sense. And with all this cap hits and stuff, in for a penny, in for a pound, you have to imagine for the right deal, the 31 first and 32 swap would be on the table.
Yeah, if you're going all in, why not just go all the way in?
Kuz in the picks for Herb Jones and something,
or Kuz and Misic for Drew.
We're doing new things now. I think Sexton could still be in play for the right price, by the way.
I think, Kuzma and one of the first for
Sexton. Maybe they have to throw in a little salary. Josh Green or something.
I think that actually works.
Yeah, Sexton's number is always higher than I think. You're right. I always think it's like 14, but I do think it's actually like 19 or so.
Come on, Fanspo. What are you doing? You don't have Sexton on the Hornets yet?
I think a small forward might be even better, and then you just add like some sort of free agent point guard.
Sexton's at 18.9.
Yeah, so you could do Kuzma for him for
23.
sure. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, Herb Jones I don't think makes enough. The injury stuff also concerns me a bit with
Trey
him.
Murphy?
I can't imagine. Not even they're dumb, right? They're that dumb,
I
right?
saw a tweet that said you could, if you're John Horst, just call the Pelicans and say you have a mystery bag for one of these players.
Remember that's how they
You
got
might
Dame.
take-
Remember that? He told Phoenix, like, you're gonna get a player you're gonna like. Don't worry about it. And Phoenix was like, sure. We get off Ayton, great. At least we don't have to do. We don't have to deal with Ayton all year. That is a clear net win.
That is a very good net win. We just get to see Myles Turner and his awesome Lego sets.
Yeah, it's a fun hobby.
Yeah. It's an expensive hobby, but he is also very rich.
And I think he can swing it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not enough two-way demons out there.
How's he going to transport all of it?
I think money solves that problem. I think you give someone a bag of it and they go, okay, we will get this to where it needs to be. Have you ever had movers?
$150.
Have you ever had movers?
No.
I've never had movers either. It's one of those things where I worry you couldn't go back.
Yeah.
I'm not planning to move that many more times, but I've always just moved my stuff. Rent a truck and move. But now you get the house, though. The house does change the equation. A lot more stuff.
That's fair.
High volume of stuff. But anyway, that's my aside there. Do you think there's another move, a Kuzma move? Let's be specific. Like they signed one more guy, I'm sure, but
I think there is. I think there should be. How about that? Oh, do I think there should be or there will be?
Will be.
Ooh. Will be, I'm iffy on. I'm 100% on should be. Because I just think there's a logjam again.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and I think if you're the Bucks, to not look like you're in a position of weakness, you probably say, "Oh, we can play Kuz at the 3. It's fine." Oh God, Chris Haynes underwent surgery and will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. I thought it said 12 months at first. I was like, "What kind of surgery did he have?" Surgery? Sorry, it says that Jaren Jackson Jr. did. My bad. My bad.
I was like,
no, not him. What was I just saying?
I think reporting that he's just not going to be out on scoops for the next couple of weeks.
I think they will do something. I think they will do something with Kuzma, but we'll see. If it's not, I don't think they feel like they have to. I'll put it that way.
Oh, we got breaking news, by the way.
What? Chris Haynes?
Brandon Woodruff is going to pitch in Miami on Sunday.
Oh, I thought he was doing minors. He's doing MLB now? Nice.
He's back.
Nice. So another prize picks option this summer.
I said breaking news like it wasn't 48 minutes ago, but
does Kuz for Malik Monk move you?
Not really.
Sounds like they want to get rid of him.
I don't think that's the type of player the Bucks need.
Yeah, you want a defender, right?
You want a defender, you want a point guard, you want a wing. He is none of those.
Yeah. I'll tell you one more name. Josh Okogie.
You got the gears.
Josh Okogie,
I'm out on.
It might be free. He's non-guaranteed, and their roster's kind of full in Charlotte. Charlotte's going to do something else. I don't know what it is.
Bring him to camp. See what happens.
Like if you traded Kuz for a point guard and then signed Okogie, I would like that. He's on like the defensive demon level. I think they need one of those guys. They don't really have one. I guess if they sign Rollins and Ajax, if he ever actually plays.
I was gonna say Ajax is the guy.
Yeah, true. That's fair. Is Ajax the backup point guard right now?
Yes, without Ryan Rollins.
Yeah.
I think we're both assuming that Rollins still comes back.
I hope so. They have 14 spots used once Micic goes away, if Livingston is still here. Also, Bogolyub sounds like might not come over now. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. They're kind of running out of spots. Sorry to break the news to you.
If you cut Livingston, you have 2 spots available.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just put Bogey on a 2-way.
He's got to take it too. I do think suddenly the front court's...
I think he'd take that. I think he wants to be here.
The front court's pretty crowded now, so I kind of get it, but I would like him to be here too.
Yeah, either Bouye or Nance. Sorry, but
yeah.
Is Mark Sears your backup point guard?
Yeah, shout out to Mark Sears. No one's factoring in Mark Sears when they talk about the Bucks not having a point guard, including me, because I forgot about him. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, including the Bucks, who they should.
Yeah, I mean, they said.
No, that's unfair. That's unfair to Mark Sears. Ryan Rollins was on the two-way, and now we're begging for him to come back.
Ryan Rollins wasn't 5'10".
It's also true.
Sorry to Mark. I'm excited to watch him play. We just need to temper expectations.
We're not even 5'10".
No.
We're shorter. I'm kidding.
Frank Mason won an MVP in the G League at about that same height, but also did not scale to the NBA well. So we'll see.
Yeah. To be clear, we're both taller than 5'10".
Yeah, I didn't. You protective of that?
No.
Okay. You just really wanted to make it clear.
Yeah. Take that, Mark Sears.
You might actually meet and interview Mark Sears. You might want to,
No, I know. I have nothing against Mark Sears. No. I'm the one who brought him up as point guard.
I know. Well,
you forgot about him. You're going to meet and interview Mark Sears. You should remember who he is, Ty.
I respect people of all heights.
Mark Sears, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. He's used to it. He's overcome the odds.
If we're bothering him, that's an issue.
Yeah, he wouldn't have made it this far. Marcus Smart on a buyout for the point guard?
You have.
I keep seeing Brogdon. I'd rather have Smart than Brogdon, that's for sure.
Yeah. Let's just bring all the Wizards guys. Middleton, Brogdon, Smart.
CJ?
Oh, God, I keep forgetting about CJ. CJ, honestly, unironically, I would take at this point.
On vet min, yeah. I wouldn't trade Kuzma for him, I don't think.
No.
I don't think either team would be interested in that.
No.
Then there's the Bulls. They
Kobe
have
White,
Kobe
Ayo.
or Ayo. The problem is it's kind of hard.
You know what? I'd take Javon at this point.
I think they'd give him to you for free. They have to give up the trade exception too, though. So you have to give up something to get him. I actually find this really interesting. I think the Bulls are dumb enough to do this. What if you got Ayo for taking on the Patrick Williams deal and sent Kuzma?
What?
Pat Williams, 18 this year, 4 more years.
Of money.
But it's not a lot any given year. But then you have now you're up to 50 mil and a 40 mil in dead cap every year between him and Dame.
Yeah.
But you can go trade him
Patrick
somewhere
Williams
else.
Technically a player, but basically dead cap.
Yeah. But then you can get Ayo Dosunmu without giving up anything except, you send away Kuzma and you have to watch Patrick Williams play basketball sometimes.
I'd rather just send Micic for Carter.
I don't know.
Actually, I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, because of the cap space thing. They might need to, yeah.
Turner, can you take a little bit less?
They could also...
I know we agreed to this deal, but we are also lowballing.
I don't know if they're factoring the CL thing. If they wanted to be reckless, they could also cut and re-sign Ajax. Also non-guaranteed for now.
You could do that to AJ.
Also AJ Green. I wouldn't do that one. That one I would be a little... That one I'd be the most worried about.
Brooklyn's paying him $10 million a year now.
Yeah.
He's getting claimed on waivers.
The Patrick Williams thing, yeah, he would be. The Patrick Williams thing interests me, though. Can you get something out of him? Can you get anything out of him? You think no?
Why do you need another power forward?
He's 6'7". He can play the 3.
Yeah, he's not a 3 though. He's a 4.
I don't think he's stuck. I don't think he just does anything. I think he
plays. Yeah, I think that's the big issue.
That is a big issue.
I think he's a player that does nothing.
Career 39% 3-point shooter. He's just
on how many attempts?
3.1 per game. He makes 1 3 per game. I know it's not. I'm not saying he's good. I'm saying you take him on, and he is just battling with Taurean Prince to be your backup 3. I guess to start at the 3.
No.
Yeah, he would be battling to start at the 3.
Young, but also has done nothing. He does nothing, Ty.
I know, but you get Ayo Dosunmu. That's the point. I'm not saying to do this to get Pat Williams. You get Ayo.
You still have Pat Williams.
You get Ayo and you keep your picks
on 18 a year.
Well, yeah.
His contract goes longer than Kuz's. I'd rather keep Kuz at that point. Kuz is a better player.
All right, that's okay. I'm trying to get creative here, and I get shouted down.
I hate Kyle Kuzma, but he's better than Patrick Williams.
Yeah, he is better. That's why if they were the same goodness, you wouldn't get Io for taking on Patrick Williams. I don't know if you can do that anyway. But the Bulls are kind of dumb, and they never.
I think the Bulls would do anything.
You don't have to give them a draft pick to get one of their players, so that's why you should.
I could say, hey, Bulls, bring me in for a trial. They'd be like, okay.
They might. You have ties to Chicago. I think they're into that.
Yeah. They'll be like, hey, can you do anything?
Do you have something?
We have some players on our roster who can't do anything.
Do you have something on the tank? Can we give you $18 million a year?
We'll pay you $5 million a year to do nothing, so we can tank and get the 15th pick or the 14th.
They don't tank. They don't tank. They're play-in Warriors.
Oh man, it's not going to be a Bulls-Hawks play-in this year, unfortunately.
You know, a lot of people are saying that, and I love what the Hawks did and their roster. I will never underestimate the Hawks' ability to go 500.
You know what's the craziest thing about the Hawks? They have one player under 6'5" on their roster.
You know what the next craziest thing about the Hawks is? They set up this really interesting team that's totally reliant on Trae Young, and he's expiring, and I don't think have really talked that much about an extension.
There's no way he's expiring. Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They are trying to,
That has to be coming, right?
I have heard. Oh, he's got a player option the year after. So it could be expiring, I should say.
He is expired.
I have heard they're not too interested in the full max. So it's kind of figuring out what number makes sense for both if Trae Young will take a number less than the full max. Not a big tax-paying market either. Just an interesting thing that everyone's excited. I get it. Super fun team. Kind of a big deal, though. You take Trae aside, the shot creation is extremely minimal. Just something to watch.
Trade Dame to Atlanta before you waive him.
Oh, my God. One last thing I wanted to mention. The free agent pool is very dried up. I will say Trey Lyles, Amir Coffey, still out there. Still good depth options, although you probably don't need Coffey anymore. Or Trey Lyles. But they're good players. Especially if you moved like a Kuzma. Chris Paul. It's just quiet right now. I know, wants to play at the West Coast.
Yeah.
Also said that last year and then signed.
The Bucks are interested in him.
Also said he wanted to play on the West Coast last year and then signed in Texas. So something I would consider. It's a 1 hour longer flight to Milwaukee than it is to San Antonio from LA. Something I would think, probably shorter for him. I Googled that. Get some PJ going, murder the environment a little bit more.
Yeah. They do it all the time.
Not a fan of Chris Paul he's not done anything wrong off the court. I'm not a fan of him as a on-court, non-play division. He plays like a nerd, but clearly the best point guard left by a wide margin.
Best shot creator, ball handler.
Oh, we skipped over it. What's your thought on Brogdon?
If it's a vet man, I take it at this point.
That's all they've got. I mean, or maybe they have like a $3 million, but it's the same as Vetman though. That's all they've got.
Yeah, Vetman, can you cut him if it doesn't work out?
I don't know. I don't know if he's taking a non-guaranteed after the way it ended. He's only 32.
No, I'm saying you guarantee the min, but you can always cut him.
You just trade him away with cash. DeLon Wright style.
Yeah. I think I'd be okay with that. He's also not great at anything anymore.
Really bad last year with Washington. Bad situation. I mean, he is he at least could get downhill and shoot a little bit. He didn't have to play much, kind of fresh legs, so maybe it's
familiar face for Giannis.
Yeah. Then
I don't hate the Drew thing.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're in now. We were trying to do more upside. I'd say now it's less young guys and more Giannis timeline guys. Late 20s, early 30s. That's all their investment right now, by the way. Portis, I think, is 29. Kuzma is 29. Turner is 29. They're literally all Giannis's age. That's clearly the window is the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, hopefully longer, but that for sure. Exum's still out there.
Retool again.
Yeah, Exum's still out there. Jared Butler, some point guards, obviously Rollins.
The Bucks consistently retool after 2 to 3 years.
They made it longer with the Chris Brook combo. It was just point guards until then, but yeah.
That's retooling.
Yeah.
They make it happen. John Horst and his supercomputer nerds.
Dude.
Super nerds in the computer room.
They divided by 5, baby.
Hey, do you know you can get cap space by just absolutely terrorizing your cap sheet?
Turns out you can. Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz.
Giannis.
Ben Simmons.
No.
If you traded Kuzma, I would give him a vet min.
Actually, yeah.
Defensive demons. I want a defensive demon. Ben Simmons can do that. You can't have him and Kuzma and Giannis, though. Ben Simmons signing on a Giannis team for vet min. Imagine saying that scenario and we're saying no to it, but it's like totally plausible in terms of.
What was that thing from like 10 years ago? It's like, who would you rather have, Giannis or Simmons? I'm taking Simmons.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly available. I mean, I think you can go get him right now if you wanted him. Fultz has, I don't know if he's a pretty good defender too. Fultz would interest me in that regard as well.
Yeah, but Simmons is probably a better defender.
He's just
Fultz
big.
Makes more sense for what you want.
Yeah, I mean, they just need a second guard. It could just be Rollins, but it's not right now.
No, it's currently no one.
How did Fultz look last year? I think not great offensively, which has kind of always been the thing. I shot 41% from... Oh, no, never mind. 41% from the field, 50% from 3 on super low volume.
50% from 3, that's all I heard.
And then the year before on the same volume and double the games, 22%. But he figured it out, but only 40% from 2 this last year. Yeah, and 2 years ago, Fultz, that kind of breakout year with the Magic, 14, nearly 6 assists, a steal and a half, 4 rebounds, 51% from the field. The 3 doesn't really fall for him, though. Yeah.
No. I'd still take it.
Yeah, it's 27. Just turned 27 in May.
Yeah. Get him in the room with oh god, who's the Bucks shooting coach now? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe it's better that we don't know.
He used to be Oppie.
Yeah, it did. That's what I mean. Maybe it's better that we don't know.
Giannis, by the way, dramatically improved as a shooter after Milwaukee.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you're following the kid logic and the Mark Jackson logic, he laid the groundwork.
That's true. That's true.
How stupid that sounds.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to her.
No, I know. It's funny to me kids doing an extension now with the Mavs after they just let all of his assistants go. Kind of a weird thing going on there. I guess now that the Knicks are going to hire Mike Brown. Did
Jared Dudley go to the...
I know some people. I don't know who all. I'm not paying that much attention. I know they've lost multiple. They've lost like 2 or 3 people already besides him.
Yeah. Luke is going to there, isn't he?
I think so. We'll see. It is the Lakers, though. I think he'll eventually sign a big extension and then maybe get traded there later.
Yeah.
I thought Luka was going to the Suns because they hired his coach from EuroLeague and then they drafted Ayton instead, so it can be hard to predict.
So funny.
Dude, it was like, oh, they hired Igor Kokoskov, Luka's coach in Europe. Just won an MVP for him. Makes perfect sense. Go take him. Oh, Ayton went to college in Arizona, though, so we have no choice.
They're the next Kobe and Shaq, Booker and Ayton.
Booker was in Madison.
Have to play like Shaq to be Shaq.
Booker was in Madison working out with Wesley Matthews and going to a concert.
He was working out with Wes Matthews?
Yeah, Wes posted it.
Oh.
I think Wes might have ran it. He was working out with someone younger, but he wants to be a Buck so bad.
Book's coming. How much does he make a year? I mean, he just signed an extension.
He hasn't signed it, but he's going to. And $75 million per year on the last 2.
Trade Dame there. No, then you still can't sign Turner.
We're not. We're gonna let go of the trade Dame options.
Yeah, we're doing right by Dame. We're letting him choose his own team. We're not sending him to the ether.
Yeah.
But
now that we're just saying the names of random guys. Yeah, I know. It's gonna come right. I don't have a feeling it's gonna be. This doesn't feel like the Trent day. I do think. I'll say by end of week we get some other semi-significant Bucks news. That's my thought.
I think it'll be sooner.
Okay. Good.
I think it's going to be sooner.
Well, I'll see you in an hour when we get back on here then.
Yep, sounds good. I'll leave it here. Say thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our amazing friends over at Prize Picks. I don't think we talked enough about Pat Connaughton. What a legend.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be up here. I'm not taking it down.
I mean, for completely unrelated reasons, there is a 24 behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe now we're out of statute of limitations. Whichever.
I don't think so. Trey, he's still on the team.
True. Not for long. Yeah, the bang in the finals was shared on socials.
Multiple bangs.
In the finals. He was
banging all over the finals.
He was banging all over the finals, and now I think the Charlotte market is going to be great for him. The Charlotte housing market. And he's a good vet. He is a good vet. I think he'll be good for that team that's trying to kind of...
I was never mad at Pat being on the team.
No.
Like, I should say the last couple of years. He was a key contributor to a finals winning team.
Yep.
He was the only guy who could play off the bench at the end of that Nets series.
Crazy.
He's a Bucks legend.
Yeah. I have the 24 up. I couldn't agree more. I would still retire it. I think
completely unrelated
people will disagree, but it's, we all knew, I think it was coming at some point, maybe even before now. Sad to see him go, but obviously I don't think he was going to have...
last year, but that weird contract.
Yeah. We'll always have the 40 burger in game 82. He went out on a high.
Kobe send-off game.
Yeah. Let's just pretend he didn't play in the playoffs at all.
Yeah. It's truly the end of the era. It's just Giannis and Bob left.
Yep.
In the title. Maybe one of them comes back. Maybe Thanasis.
The two youngest guys who made it even like 2 years out from that, I think.
Yeah.
So kind of makes sense, but it is still crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's time for a new title winning team, though.
Myles Turner
One thing we didn't cover. East is wide open, man.
Yeah. I mean, Cavs and Knicks.
Yeah.
Hawks and Magic.
East is wide open.
Wide open.
But I was in the middle of the outro.
Yeah. I'm glad you said something, though. We did gloss over Pat. We should have. We did a Dame thing. We did a Brook thing earlier. It's good. We'll remember Pat.
Pat is deserving of remembrance.
There'll be more time, too. We're right in the mix of it still right now. I think there'll probably be more remembrances as we go.
Yeah, we do have August that we need to get through.
Yeah, a lot of September.
A lot of Bucks Symphony pods coming in August.
I've been thinking about that already.
Alrighty. Well, I'll continue the outro saying thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast, that's on your podcast platform of choice or YouTube. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. Tell your friends and family about the show. So just, like I said last time, or not last time, a few times ago, we've recorded a lot. Just stop some random people on the street. Hey,
Eurostep.
The Eurostep podcast. Eurostep podcast. Eyebrow raises.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Pod random, and we'll talk to you next time.